You may have heard about disappearing cases every now and then, most of which end up turning into terrifying murder cases, but others remain strangely unsolved. Just like what happened on a fated day at the 1st of April 2014, when 2 young girls went missing for the last time, never to be seen again, with the only hints left being their remains showing that the young girls met quite a grisly doom. This is the case of Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon's disappearance, and the aftermath of their grim fate. Before we dive headfirst into the case, we should know a little more about the unfortunate victims. Both Kris Kremers, 21 years old, and Lisanne Froon, 22 years old, spent their childhoods in Amersfoort, which is located in the Dutch province of Utrecht. Kremers was defined as a person who is open to new experiences, creative and responsible, whereas Froon was described as aspirational, optimistic, clever, and a volleyball player who is passionate about the sport. Both Kremers and Froon had recently graduated from their respective schools. Kremers from the University of Utrecht with a degree in cultural and social education, concentrating in art education, and Froon from the University of Deventer with a degree in applied psychology. Froon had moved in with Kremers in a dorm room in Amersfoort only a few weeks before the 2 of them left for Panama. At the time, the 2 of them were working together at a cafe and a restaurant that was called In den Kleinen Hub. They both worked hard to save money for a period of 6 months so that they could take a special trip to Panama together for a period of 6 weeks. While there, they intended to study the Spanish language and to engage in meaningful work for the people of Panama, particularly through volunteer work with children. Froon was also meant to receive a prize for graduating in the form of the trip. The 15th of March 2014 saw the arrival of Kremers and Froon in Panama. They spent the first 2 weeks traveling throughout the nation before making their way to Bukit Chirigu on March 29 to stay with the host family and assist with youngsters there for the following month. On April 1, at around 11, they went hiking on the El Pianista route, which is not too far from Bukit. The trail is located close to the cloudy forests that encircle the Baru volcano. It has been said by certain sources that they took with them a dog that belonged to the people who owned the restaurant, known as Il Pianista. Nevertheless, this has not been verified. The women stated on Facebook that they planned to walk around Bukit, and it was reported that they had been seen enjoying brunch with 2 young Dutch males before setting out on the route. Before setting out on the trail, the women had written on Facebook that they meant to stroll around Bukit. The proprietors of the restaurant are said to have become concerned when their dog did not return home with Kremers and Froon on that particular night. According to some sources, both women had been sending daily text messages to their respective families, including Froon's parents, but they stopped doing so at some point. The women were supposed to meet with a local guide on the morning of April 2nd, but they were late. Their parents, along with police, dog units and detectives from the Netherlands, traveled in Panama on April 6 to begin a comprehensive search of the forests there for the next 10 days. The parents offered a reward of $30,000 United States for any information that could lead to the whereabouts of Kremers and Froon. A local woman turned in Froon's blue bag 10 weeks later, on June 14. She reported discovering it beside a riverbed near her community of Alto Romero, which is located in the Bocas del Toro province. The village is in the province of Bocas del Toro. The backpack had 2 pairs of sunglasses, $83 in cash, Froon's passport, a water bottle, Froon's cameras, 2 bras, and the women's phones, all of which were in working order. Additionally, the rucksack had 2 pairs of sunglasses. The phones belonging to the women revealed that only a few hours after the start of their hike, someone contacted both the Dutch equivalent of the international emergency number, which is known as 112, as well as 911, the emergency number in Panama. The iPhone belonging to Kremers made the initial effort to place a distress call at 1639, and then shortly after that, the Samsung Galaxy belonging to Froon made a second attempt at 1651. However, none of the calls were successful because of the poor reception in the region. The subsequent attempts to phone also were never successful in reaching someone on the other end. After 5 in the morning on April 4, the battery in Froon's phone ran out, and the phone was never used again after that point. Even though it was not possible for Kremers' iPhone to make any more calls, it was occasionally turned on in an attempt to locate a signal. Between Friday, April 5 and Sunday, April 11, the iPhone was turned on many times, but the proper PIN code was never entered again. Either no PIN or a wrong PIN code was entered. On April 11, the phone was powered up for the first time at 10:51 and remained on until it was shut off for the final time at 11:56. Photos from April 1 found on Froon's Canon camera suggested that the women had taken a trail at the overlook of the Continental Divide and wandered into some wilderness hours before their first attempt at making emergency calls. But there were no indications that anything out of the ordinary had happened at the time. On April 8, between the hours of 1 and 4 in the morning, a total of 90 flash photographs were shot in what appears to be the middle of the forest and in nearly total darkness. A couple of the photographs indicate that they may have been in the area of a river or a ravine. One depicts what appears to be a strap from a backpack and a mirror perched on another rock. Another shows the back of a Kremers' head, and the third depicts what appears to be a twig with plastic bags perched on top of a rock. Following the finding of the bag, more searches were conducted along the Colubre River. Denim shorts belonging to Kremers were discovered perched on a rock on the opposite bank of the tributary, a few kilometers away from the location where Froon's backpack had been located. The shorts were supposed to have been found zipped up and folded properly, but images of the shorts that were published in 2021 refuted this information. The rumor claimed that the shorts were found neatly folded. 2 months later, in the vicinity of the location where the bag was recovered, a pelvis and a boot with a foot still inside of it were discovered. In a short time, at least 33 bones that were widely dispersed were found along the side of the same river. DNA tests established beyond a reasonable doubt that Kremers and Froon were their parents. While the bones of Froon appeared to have some of their skin still clinging onto them, the bones of Kremers appeared to have been bleached. In later years, a forensic anthropologist from Panama stated that when the bones were examined under magnification, there are no discernible scratches of any kind on the bones, neither of natural nor cultural origin. There are no marks on the bones at all. Although it was not possible to determine with absolute certainty what caused their deaths, Dutch authorities, working in conjunction with the forensic and search and rescue investigators, initially believed that it was likely that the students had accidentally fallen off a cliff after becoming disoriented. However, it was not possible to completely rule out the possibility of foul play, and some people believe that it is a much more likely explanation given the discovery of additional remains. There has been a lot of conjecture about their final days as a result of the events that led up to their disappearance and the aftermath of it. The authorities in Panama have been accused of mishandling the investigation into the disappearance and the events that followed. In 2017, additional research into the case uncovered questions with the initial investigation, in addition to the possibility of a connection to other homicides in the vicinity. There have been various hypotheses put out as to what happened to Kremers and Froon. Nevertheless, there has been no determination made regarding their official cause of death. Thank you for making it so far to the end of this video. We hope to see you soon on a brand new case. Stay tuned for more videos.